The OECD says we're going to use over 400 million tonnes of plastic, 400 million tonnes of plastic every year, and only about 10% is recycled. Polymateria, though, a spin-out from Imperial College London, has recently raised £20 million in Series B funding to scale its tech for making biodegradable plastics. The CEO says he wants the firm to become the Tesla of plastics, and we're joined now by the CEO in the studio, Niall Dunne, Chief Executive of Polymateria. Neil, great to have you in the studio. Thank you for coming in. You've raised this money back in April, £20 million. What are the challenges around commercialising this product?
Well, I think partnership is the key, Tom. Just last week, we signed a deal with Lotte Titan, the chemical company in Malaysia, because one of the unique features is being able to develop the resin at point of manufacture. So this is really important for scale, that you change the fundamental nature of the resin, and working with partnerships such as Lotte or Indorama, where we have a fantastic partnership on those non-woven materials, those masks that we all had to wear for a period of time, and tea bags, diapers, those types of materials. So those big partners are the number one or number two player in either their market or in the material, and we spend a lot of time getting the technology right to scale through them.
You do have a unique technology. Biodegradable plastics have been around for a while, though. Your technology is slightly unique. Explain to us what exactly it does, how it sets you apart, and where that demand is coming from.
Yeah, so there's three things that really make the technology different. The first is we can time control it. So this allows consumers, but also end-of-life scenarios to have every chance of happening. So we can predict the exact month within which the technology becomes active. So that could be February next year or January in 2 years' time.
So the plastic bottle doesn't just disintegrate in your hands when you're holding it?
It gives the stability for a set period of time. And then once time is up, what we've actually figured out is how you attack and destroy the crystallinity. So a lot of technologies failed because they were leaving the crystallinity intact, which creates microplastic. So what we've done is figured out how to take that back to a wax-like state. And then the third thing is we make that wax act like a prebiotic. So microbes, fungi and bacteria will attack it and assimilate it and get it fully back to nature.
When it comes, we're in an environment, of course, where we're talking about recession risks, about slowing growth. Inflation, of course, has dominated over the last few years, and it remains, of course, salient for many companies. How do you make the case that they should be adding cost to their production?
Well, I think the cost is very competitive. When you look at what the competition have been doing for 20, 30 years, it's about 300% the cost of traditional plastic, up to 600% cost. Our incremental is only about 10%. Now, that's for the B2B partners, but for the consumer, they barely even see it. So we also work very closely with governments, creating new standards and new legislative frameworks where when plastic is banned, they will give exemptions for biodegradable materials like ours, which basically means you either close your factory or you work with new innovators like Polymateria.
And you talked about the backing you're getting from governments like India, backing, as you just mentioned, around from companies in places like Malaysia. You need, don't you, surely, to have the buy-in from companies like GSK or GlaxoSmithKline, I should say, Unilever or Procter & Gamble, for example, companies that produce the vast majority of the kind of plastic incorporated products that we use every day. Are you getting close? Is that the kind of deal that you need to really accelerate and get this mass market?
I'm very confident I'll be back to you later this year, Tom, announcing that we have launched with one of the largest brands in the world. So downstream of Indorama, we're now working really closely with their big customers, some of the largest users of non-wovens in the world, to launch the technology in everyday applications like baby wipes and diapers. And that is a Q4 objective, not just for us, but also for Indorama.
What are your kind of priority markets at this point?
Well, really anything that kind of, well, it's the materials that wind up in nature. So those materials are, in this part of the world, you know, recycled or going to landfill or being exported all around the world. I think the other thing that we're seeing is global consumption is being shipped out to the global south. And then, you know, in countries like Malaysia, 63% of plastic is winding up in nature. In Philippines, it's 83%. So we've really focused on those materials that are most likely to wind up in nature and making sure that we are developing solutions in the parts of the world and in the markets that are going to carry the greatest risk.
What is the funding environment like? You've raised 20 million. Are you looking to IPO? What's the time frame in the IPO? Would you look to the UK to the IP? Is the UK still an attractive business destination?
The UK is very much an attractive business destination, but really the volumes are in the global south. I mean, these big partners, the likes of Indorama or in Thailand, our lead for the Series B round was the Temasek-backed impact fund, ABC Impact. So this is really the part of the world that you can just see the issue every day. You look outside in the streets and it's all around you. So they need no convincing that the issue exists and that credible innovation is needed. So in terms of our funding options, we're very close to those industry partners, so we'll continue to deepen our partnerships with them. And we've also started working with a very large investment bank to consider our funding scenarios going forward. Nothing is off the table at this point.
Niall, fantastic stuff. Thank you very much indeed on the latest around Polymateria. A really interesting company to keep an eye on, particularly in the back of that fundraising in April as they try and tackle the issue of plastics, biodegradable plastics, and a spin-off, of course, from one of the UK's leading universities, Imperial College London, Niall Dunne, the CEO of Polymateria.